There's one more type of decontamination which we have in our arsenal that I think I get the impression that a lot of general practice vets are actually a bit scared to use: Intralipid. So I never used it until I went into emergency work, but now I use it really quite often. And for some cases, it's a lifesaver. Like, honestly, it's amazing. When you really need it in a really sick toxicity case, it does wonders. But for those of you that have either never used it before or don't know what it is, Intralipid is literally like liquid fat that you put IV, pretty much. It looks like propofol, but it's in a fluid bag, and it works by providing a lipid sink for lipophilic toxins. So for fat-loving toxins, it works. It sort of like collates that toxin, if you like. It works as a lipid sink. Apparently, it's also meant to help promote cardiac performance as well, by providing myocytes with an energy substrate, apparently. And it's supposed to increase intracellular calcium concentration, apparently, which is supposed to make myocardial contractility a bit better, potentially. But the main thing is to say that it's a lipid sink. So for any toxins that are lipophilic, and again, I Google it every time because I always forget which ones are lipophilic. But if you have a toxin that is making an animal really, really sick, and you know that it loves fat, so it's a lipophilic toxin, Intralipid is something you can use. So that's worth bearing in mind.
Yeah, what are the toxicities? Because I know people tend to like it for tremorogenic mycotoxin, I believe,
Yeah.
which I think they're really hard to decide if it's helped because they do get better as well.
Yeah.
So, there's times where I've not ended up doing it and the nurses thought I did do it because the owner kind
Yeah.
of said, oh no, the extra cost. And then the nurse has gone, they're looking so much better. And you're like, no, it didn't have it in the end.
Yeah.
So it's quite
I
hard to know when it helps, but yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I generally use it for marijuana. If they're sick, like sometimes you get a little bit and you're like, oh, you're a bit stoned, but you're fine. Whereas I've had some that have been really quite sick that I've hospitalized. So marijuana, sometimes I do. And my tremogenic ones, I nearly always do. But to be honest, most of the tremogenic ones that I see are really, really sick. So yeah, it's not benign. Like, it can cause a lot of problems. You can cause fat embolism. You can cause pancreatitis. So in a schnauzer, I'd be really, really worried about using it. So be careful. It can cause corneal clouding, potentially cause coagulopathy. So it is not benign. But ultimately, if you've got a dog that is dying of a toxicity and you know it's likely had a lipophilic toxin, sometimes I'm just like, the benefits outweigh the risks for me. But that's worth mentioning is it will bind any drug that is lipophilic. So loads of the drugs you've already given to try and make that dog feel better or that cat feel better, if they are lipophilic, it will also bind them. And that includes meropitam, metoclopramide, apomorphine, benzodiazepines, propofol, all of those drugs that you're going to use to stop it being sick, to stop it seizuring. All of those kind of drugs that are lipophilic potentially could get bound by your Intralipid as well. So be super, super careful, because sometimes you might be thinking that you're giving Intralipid to try and bind the toxin and make them feel better. But ultimately, if it's not a lipophilic toxin and you've got it wrong and you just bind up all your seizure drugs and it starts seizuring again, you're a little bit buggered. So just be careful.